Hey, Jeremy.
Hello.
Sorry, I would have been faster, but the cord popped out of my speakerphone. I had to climb down and grab it.
That's why I just started it. I'm trying to get this music playing real quick. Shoot. Where'd I put it? It's supposed to be here. Hmm. Here it is. So you did just watch the My Hero episode, right?
Yeah, I did. Twice.
Okay, let me... Don't want this overpowering. Okay, everyone, welcome back to another week of the Anime4All podcast. We're here to talk about the latest episode of My Hero Academia. The one that'll be the last one for, I'd say, a minimum of a week. I don't know how long they're gonna go on a break. I think it might just be a week, like most shows do. They'll take a week or two off. Guess I'll find out when we do some research. But this will be the last review for My Hero. We will be back next week from Shaman King, and we'll be just doing 2 episodes like we normally will till like My Hero comes back on whatever rotation week that it does come back on. So with that, I don't think there's anything different in our analytics that I think is noteworthy. Just let me check this out real quick. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I think you say you had a good weekend or something like that. I think. I may not have asked.
Yeah, I had a pretty good weekend. I was super busy.
That's good. Busy's always good. Okay, so we had a download with the recent one I uploaded. I've been really bad about uploading these videos. Probably uploading these MP3s, these podcasts to the site way before we go live on another one. But okay, well, it looks like we got another download today, which is good. So that changed. Yeah, there's nothing else noteworthy going on. I mean, I'm seeing that we're still getting German viewers. Apparently, we're getting some, well, not viewers, but listeners. We're also getting some Brazilian visitors out there too, which is cool.
Cool.
Is that Florida? Yeah, that is Florida. We got some Florida. We got some Texan. I think. Oh, look at that! There's somebody in New York City. Well, not New York City, but New York. That's pretty cool. Still got to work out the whole how to communicate with you guys who are listening to us, but I'll work that out later. But I guess with that's about it. We can move on with the episode review, and this one, normally during this week we'd be reviewing this along with Shaman King, but I really wanted this one to breathe on its own since it's going to be the last one for at least a week. So I thought it'd be better in my opinion, considering that this is pretty meaty. We can really talk about this for an hour, I think. Um, so I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like there's enough information here to start a conversation. So we'll begin with this. The very beginning of the episode. Apparently, we get a few weeks ago in Kyushu, and we actually the episode starts out with Hawks, and Hawks is like having a conversation with Dabi. Um, I stated before that I don't know how to truly feel about Hawks, and I still kind of feel that way. Um, because I don't know. It seems like he's being a double agent for the villains and also for the heroes. Uh, but it seems like he's really still a hero. Like he's still a good guy from the way he acts the entire episode. He gives me the vibe that at least he's not a bad guy, from what I can tell. Um, we also get to see a side of him that's a little bit different later on in the episode too, where he's actually serious about doing this job. So I don't really know how I feel truly about the guy. Uh, what do you have? I guess what's your opinion on him?
On Hawks?
Yeah.
Um, I think I think the plot line is intentionally trying to set it up so we don't know enough about him to be sure. I think that's what makes the plot kind of interesting in the first place. I think that he is one of the good guys, and he's playing a very difficult role as the double agent here. But it seems like he does prioritize the good guys much more than the bad guys. When push came to shove, he saved Endeavour. You know what I mean? But when they had something big to lose, he sent along the tip. You know what I mean? Despite the fact that he was being super monitored and everything else. So I think he's one of the good guys, and I think he's on their side. I think he's just playing a very dangerous game.
I mean, I can see that. I just don't know how I truly feel about him. I mean, like, I feel like he's a good guy, and he's just playing double agents, which is really weird. I guess like with that, because he's on a Christmas with Dobby, and Dobby, you can see Dobby's being wary of him, at least from Hawks' conversation. Hawks has been monologuing a lot in this episode. We can hear his thoughts and whatnot, so we know what he's thinking. Um, Essentially, we cut to a scene where Hawks is talking with Vestinus, and I don't know whether this is in the past or the future, because I apparently listened to some other people. Apparently, this episode is out of order, and by that I mean that the arc that this is being placed in happens later, but they're doing it in this order to make things make sense. I think. So I don't know what order this was in the actual manga. I would like to go back and check that out, but I probably can't do that without risking spoilers. I could care less, but I mean, so I don't know what order this really falls in. If this happens after the arc that is supposed to happen next, whatever that arc is. Um, so I don't know what order. It seems like what they're setting up is some type of liberation arc. So I guess we're going to see a lot of interesting characters come out of that. Um, I was saying that we see Hawks like still pulling that double agent. I mean, this entire episode, as he says, Jock is saying that he's playing a really dangerous game, but Hawks knows this, and he wouldn't be doing if he didn't know he could, if he didn't believe that he can do it. I guess the interesting thing about like this episode too is he's talking about Best Genus, who we now know he's been okay for quite a bit of time, even though he is missing a lung apparently. So like his confrontation with One for All left him with just one lung. So I mean, he's saying he's gonna go back into being a hero at some point. Um,
Soon, it sounds like, right?
yeah, I mean, from the base of everything we know, like Hawks is trying to set up another hero to be the catalyst for the next big fight that's gonna happen.
I thought the
And
word choice was weird too. The way Best Dress was like, "I'm going to expose myself soon."
I think he just meant that he's been hidden in the newspaper that we saw that Bakugo had before says he was missing. Like you wouldn't say someone's missing if you didn't know they were if you didn't know where they were or what they were doing. And it also looks like here, for whatever reason, he went into hiding with Hawks, or Hawks put him into a special situation where he can stay hidden. I had no idea. Based on the fact that he has one lung, tells me he probably wasn't up to snuff to be able to fight again. Because So they showed us Bakugo and his thought process on Best Genius on purpose. Like I guess for this specific situation, I'm guessing Best Genius is going to come back into the fray this arc or the next arc. Um, for whatever his purpose is, other than being the guinea pig that Hawks had to choose because Dobby didn't like that Hawks chose Endeavor. Um, and all I gotta say is that it's his fault for not thinking that Endeavor couldn't take on a Nomu because he's killed I think 3 during the last incident. I can understand how he thought maybe he wouldn't be able to take down his Nomu, but if this Nomu wasn't fire resistant, I don't know what he was thinking. Um, it just seems so weird that he would be that of shock that Endeavor was able to take on a Nomu. Considering he fought few of them. I mean, they were weaker versions, but he could still light them on fire. I bet the only way those things would be dangerous to him now is they were to make him fire resistant. Which remains to be seen, but you never know.
Don't you think you can just make them fire resistant?
I was saying that the entire time. The only way they haven't done it yet, which is really weird. You think they would have used like the smart Nomu and made him fire resistant, but they didn't. And Dabi didn't seem okay with the fact that he chose number 1 hero because of all the buzz that generated because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Dabi's not dumb, so he probably knows something's going on. And that Hawks was doing all that on purpose. But I guess we'll see about that. We have the intro. Not much for an Aikitaka split. I mean, yeah, there's like a group of characters we had never seen before in the intro. But we don't know who they are or what they're there for. They seem evil, but I'm gonna wait to cast my judgment on them until we see them. We cut away from the intro to we find out that on January 1st, that the hero kids were sent home for only one day to enjoy their New Year's Day, and we see Deku and his mother for the first time in a while. Speaking of art choices,
why do you think they brought that scene into the show?
What?
Why do you think they brought up that moment with him and his wife, and his mom? His wife.
That. Wait, he married Uraraka already? Dang, that was quick.
I was trying to say mom and life at the same time, and it just came out wife for some reason. With that little slice of life moment where he's with his mom, what do you think that served in the plot line?
Nothing, because I don't think his mother has never served a plot relevance at all. I think really that was just what it was just a slice of life. There was no real purpose behind it. I think they just showed us that his mother's doing okay, because some people are going to be wondering like, where is she? What has she been doing? I will say, it was weird with her art direction, because in prior scenes I remember her being chubbier. She seemed skinnier this time. I mean, she wasn't full on skinny like she was before, but she definitely wasn't as like round as she was in her past appearances. So I don't know if like she's losing weight, because like that's the only thing I could think is that she was just fat prior to this for reasons unknown. And honestly, I mean, if you want to give her a purpose, it's probably just, I mean, her little speech saying that she felt she had to protect Deku all those years. When Deku wanted to be like All Might, she felt like she had to protect him. That's probably just giving some closure to what she did in the past, because some people didn't like that. Some people didn't like, even Deku kind of resented her a little bit. I forgot what he said earlier on, but it was like he wanted his mother to tell him that he could be a hero, but in reality, she just told him the plain truth. And he kind of resented her for that, because he was such a young kid and he just wanted to hear what he wanted to hear. Now, granted, we haven't heard of what Deku thinks of that now, but in reality, his mother was doing the best she could because she didn't want to hurt her son, which is real. Most parents want to protect their children because you don't want to see them hurt or whatever. But we see in those scenes, Deku was more hurt with her just hugging him and crying as a little kid. Because you see that scene over again for like the 5th time in the series, I think, where she's hugging him on the computer chair. He's pointing at the computer with a video of All Might. Like, I legitimately don't think it really has any real purpose. I think it was just a slice of life. They're just showing us where she was, because like they completely cut her out after they moved all the children into the dorms.
I think there was some value to this. I don't think it was necessarily a plot advancement, but the fact there's a big transition here in how the mother feels about Deku. Like, she went from, like, you're gonna get killed, and like, I'm so worried about you, and this is awful, and I've got to protect you, and here, I made your costume for you, and you got to wear this, and blah blah blah, and like, kind of like this silver spoon in his mouth kind of approach, to like admiring him and like having confidence in him, and like thinking very highly of him, and considering this success for him, and like even at the end when she sees him leaving, she says it's kind of a relief, like, seeing your face, I feel relieved somehow. It makes me feel like this is like a sort of a turning point in his plot development, that they're kind of like not necessarily happening here, but they're kind of benchmarking it and saying like, something big has changed. Like, the mother has gone from worrying about him all the time to being proud of him, and
I don't think she's.
And
I don't think she's gone from worrying about him. Yeah, she's proud of him, definitely. But I'm certain she's still worrying about him.
She's gone to a place of support and pride and admiration. Of course, she's going to be worried about him because he's in puts himself in a lot of dangerous situations, and he's taken some big hits. But like, at the same time, like, she's gone to a supportive place instead of like a worrying, like, sort of wishing he wouldn't do this kind of place. Like, now she's like, you're pursuing your dreams and you're on life's big adventure, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I get that. I guess for me, they didn't do much for me because I remember that episode where you said that you didn't approve of how she was treating Midoriya back when they were transitioning from living with their parents to living on the dormitory. I remember we had differences in ideal there. I mean, I guess in that situation, you probably gained more from that scene than I would because I didn't feel the way you did. But I forgot what exactly was said, and it wasn't an argument. It was just more we had the way we viewed how she was acting was vastly different. I honestly, the way she treated him back then, yeah, it wasn't the best parenting, but it was something to be expected because as she said here, she spent most of her time worrying about him, and this was reflected back when he was like 5 years old, when he didn't have a quirk, and he was so desperate to be a superhero. In reality, he could never let that ideal go. He was that desperate. That's why I kind of always believe that, like, the way Deku's acting now, a lot of people probably say it's completely opposite Deku the way he acts. I don't think so. I feel like a lot of what he's doing right now is true to his personality. It's just that he never had the ability to act on those first responses. Granted, he did have that first burst of running and going against his own will, his own mind. Basically, why is he running towards a danger? But I mean, I like a, I think it was part of his personality. Now, yeah, she's gone from worrying, but I still think she's still worrying about him. I honestly, the fact that we saw her cry a river, um, in her home, which is kind of funny that they even like bring out that fact that's actually happening, that it wasn't just an animation trick. She's actually crying that much water, because you say
Right.
like the people underneath it, it's the roof is leaking. I was like, oh, so that's actually happening. That's just not animation. Oh, okay.
It's just animation.
What?
It's just animation.
No, he literally. I think that was actually happening. In, in
And
a
All
world,
Might
in a
and
world
All
where
Might and All Might really inflates himself into a muscle form, and it's not just a thing.
he
Make up your
already
mind.
he already brought up that he's flexing. He like in his past, he always looked like that. He just doesn't look like that now because he took a gut punch. Well, a part of his stomach is missing. He like this was all stated by him a long time ago. I don't understand why you don't believe that, but I mean, I've moved on from that because like that, like he's already explained Like that was that his in present time he took a huge hit, so he has to flex bringing in your stomach. That was him just bringing his stomach in. He just like it was an exaggerated muscle form the way he used to look. Cause that's the way he used to look. He did not look emancipated. That was not his normal look. That whole skeleton look is not his normal look. That's his default look now, but before a long time ago that was not the way he looked.
Yeah, and when he jumps back into that mode, he's really jumping back into that mode, just like she's really crying a gigantic ass river.
I mean, I don't call that a mode. I just say like at least for him, it's just like the way he used to look. He's bringing his stomach in. Cause I remember like I think it's the episode where he fought All for One. He was like he said I hadn't put my back into it, and you weren't convinced that he was really putting his back into it. I kept looking at that scene over and over again. I think he really was putting his back into it. He wasn't seriously trying to punch All for One. He was just trying to trick him, which is something that All for One has brought up that All Might's never done. This is trick punch him, but
He had a limited amount of power, and he consolidated it into his back and like his arm. He like filtered more of his power into the focus area when he did that punch.
But moving on from that, at least the mother and son scene.
I just thought it was a cool moment. I want to drive that home. Like I think that's a cool moment that like regardless of what happened, like when this all started out, she was really worried for him and you know, justifiably so maybe, but like she can't deny the progress that he's made. You know what I mean? And I think that's big to have this character that knows him more deeply than anybody in the series except for Bakugo, because she and Bakugo are the two that go way back with him. And she's like she's not grudgingly, but she's just acknowledging it and saying like, you've come a long way, you know, in her way of saying it, you know.
I get it, and I know we had this conversation before, so I don't want to get into that conversation again. But it's like, yeah, I understand all that, but I feel like she had the right, you know, to be as worried and as controlling over him because I mean she is his mother. All Might really had no real say in it. And All Might realized that like too late in the process. I'm actually quite surprised he even brought that up. But I mean, even though Deku still has to hide the fact that he didn't have a quirk before and now he has one.
It's not just that though. She like when she's reflecting on his life, she's like, I've been trying to like ever since you were a little kid, you were saying I would take bruises with being a hero, and I would bruise but save other people, and like you were worshiping All Might, and I was like always so worried about you, and you know, and just having that reflection of how she felt about it when he was a kid, and how she was like, I tried to protect him and everything else, and I don't know, it's just a cool like reflection that she's just like, ever since you were little, you copied All Might. She says, saying you'd save people while getting bruises, even though you weren't that strong. That's why I've thought I have to protect Izuku. I thought that for a long time, but it's like seeing your face now, I feel relieved somehow. In other words, she doesn't have to protect him.
No, I got all that. I mean, I know everything. I know like this is like, an
From the
improvement.
role of protector to like the role of like supporter and cheerleader. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a really cool like way to benchmark how much progress he's made. When your mom is like, "Wow, I don't have to protect you anymore," like that's almost like saying that you've become a man. You know, like you can take care of yourself right now. That's fantastic, encouraging. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get all that, but I feel like she was always cheering him on in the back. I mean, you know, whatever. Gonna move on. Restart. I get what you mean. The scene definitely had some weight. I guess it just didn't affect me as much as it did you.
Okay. It's just a turning point moment that I think is really cool.
No, I get it, but I don't think it hit me as hard as it did you. I mean, all that does make sense.
Definitely like, I mean, think about it. And then the next line is, "Then the new year began." Like this all happened like as the new year rolled in. You know, like that's like a big deal. Like a new year is beginning. Like he's going off to have like a new beginning with Endeavour. Like he's leaving like a phase of his life behind. And as he does so, like, you know, visiting home for the holidays for a little bit and getting to see mom, she acknowledges that she doesn't have to protect him anymore. I think that's a big deal. Like, that's a really cool, like, feather in his cap that he's made it to that point, you know? It's like when you're playing a video game and you unlock an achievement. Unlocking the achievement doesn't do anything for your progress in the video game, but it's still a milestone that acknowledges that something big was happening, you know?
No, I get all that. I get all that. It's not that I don't agree with you. By the way, I was looking at Silver Spoon before we move on, and I was like, I don't think that was the right term to be used for that.
He was a little coddled. He was a little, maybe sheltered.
Yeah, I was trying to look up Silver Spoon to see if they had multiple meanings, but I was like, isn't Silver Spoon being privileged? Deckard wasn't exactly privileged. I mean, he was privileged in the sense that he had a home and he had food to eat, but in this world, I feel like privilege is more of having an ability, and he wasn't.
I just meant, I guess Silver Spoon might not be as relevant as saying that he was a little more sheltered perhaps than he needed to be, a little more coddled than he needed to be. But then again, he was like, what, 10? You know, 10, 12, 14? Like, I guess it's okay that he was sheltered by his parents.
Yeah, I agree with that. What was the next thing? Oh, that's right. We go back to here. We go from there and we go back to Hawks as he's landing in a building that we've never seen before. See if I can't get a better. I still feel like his mother got skinnier. I don't know why, but it might have something to do with maybe the not wearing thing, because she
Oh
definitely gained
my
a lot.
god, get off the weight loss.
Oh, so there was weight loss. Okay, just want to make sure.
No, it's just like, why the Jenny Craig program, like, focus here? Like, out of all the stuff we could talk about, you're like, she looks skinnier.
I'm just saying I'm sorry, it kind of bothered me that she was tall before, and then usually you don't see shrinking of anime character height unless they are like old 65. And I don't think she's in her 60s. I think she might be in her 40s. The fact that she shrank that much was kind of disturbing for me. But what was it? Oh, here it is. Like this building. I don't think we've ever seen this building before, and they don't know what this building is for. The one that Hawks is landing in after all that family
How long
time
do
that
you
Deckard
think
was
it takes
having.
Hawks? How long do you think it takes Hawks to grow back all his feathers?
Obviously not long. He never got a time limit.
It's just interesting that he's fully fletched out now.
I mean, it's been a couple of months.
Yeah.
If it was summer when the fight originally happened with Endeavour and that Nomu, then definitely 6 months have had to pass at minimum. I'll
Yeah.
say 4 months at minimum would have had to have passed. 6 at the most would have had to have passed. So I'm pretty sure. I'd say 2 to 3 months. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we're kind of loud. Like the entirety of this episode, Hawks' feathers are coming out. I don't know if that was on purpose or that's just some animation trick they're doing with his wings, but he had been losing feathers the entire episode, except when he was flying. But I don't know what this building is, like what this building is or who it belongs to. Oh, I thought maybe they told. Never mind. We see here him landing in front of Slide and Go, who now I'm curious about because before he seemed like he was just a side character, an extra that we weren't going to see anymore. But here he is. Also, we get introduced to another character we don't know whose name is or what he even looks like. I don't know what's going on here. It seems like this might be the hero side. I don't know because that guy looks extremely shady to be a hero. Or even like a person giving money to the heroes. I thought he was Dobby, but if it was Dobby, they would have shown what his face looked like. Because we already know what Dobby looks like. There's no reason to hide him.
Mm-hmm.
And if it can't be Dobby, because you don't see the burnt skin on his arm. Whoever this guy on the laptop is holds some importance.
It wasn't
I was
Dobby.
bugged.
Don't we get to see the eyes with like the stitches on them?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying, like, normally if it was Dobby, they would have shown us what he looked like because there's no reason to hide him, but they're hiding this guy's face.
Yeah.
On purpose. I don't know who he is, or like, he could be a villain because he's talking about how Hawks' position as the number 2 hero allows him to gain access to the hero's database and look things up, because Slide and Go doesn't have that. Um, and also this guy's watching Hawks anyway. He confirms that because he was watching Hawks grab some coffee. And he said he was going to grab the black coffee, but you hesitated and grabbed this. And he's like, I just like sweet coffee. Like that was a really weird detail.
They're showing him how carefully they're watching him.
I don't know who this guy is. Is that hair or is that part of his coat? I don't. That's weird. At least the sub I
Which
was
second
watching,
are
they
you
were
on?
implying that they installed this cameras on Hawks somehow, but that can't be right translation. That doesn't make any sense. Countless micro devices installed in Hawks. That doesn't. Well, I guess maybe they're talking about his goggles and his ear and his headphones. Maybe there's some stuff in there.
Well, they have the satellite watching him.
Yeah, but I don't think the satellite will be enough to track a man that fast. But who knows?
Satellite. It barely has to move to track him.
They're talking about like how
He's
Slide
got
and Go is.
long,
I feel like this image here like was so close to we could see who the heck this guy is, but we can't.
he's got like elf-like shoes, and he has the long bony fingers, and I think he's someone we haven't seen yet.
Well, obviously, hasn't someone we haven't seen because if we've already seen this person, they would have shown us. They would have shown us already. Well, we cut
Yeah.
away from that, and we see Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki get off the bus to meet his father, and we have this really awkward father-son moment with Todoroki, I forgot his name. Dang, I forgot his first name. Endeavor is like, welcome to working with Endeavor is that's not how I feel right now. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, did he say that part out loud or not? I had a
I
tough time
think he
telling.
said that in his mind because the switch into the fade I think he said that in his mind. Granted, with the
I did
way
too.
Deku's looking, you'd think he said it out loud. I don't know. I'm gonna go on the assumption that he didn't say that out loud, that he has more manners than that, but I have no idea. Um,
Oh yeah, he's a very polite and kind
Shut
man.
it, Jock. Shut it, Jock. I know this entire arc is gonna be you just poking fun at Endeavor.
No,
That's all this is
let's
gonna
just
be. No,
slather
I'm
on.
prepared for it. I'm prepared for it. I'm prepared for it. But
Let's just slather on the assuming of good faith here.
I'm ready for it. Essentially, they had the conversation like Bakugo saying that he looks cringy, and then he's like, "I told you to make better friends than this boy." Like, just like really, you're gonna put on the good father face here, right? And then Deku's like saying, "I look forward to working with you." And Endeavor flashes back to when he first talked to Deku all those seasons ago. Um, Deku mentions the fact that he still intimidates him, but I guess he's looking forward to working with him. I actually forgot about this moment because I thought he never talked to Deku before, but I forgot that he did actually speak to him, threaten him earlier on. But we flash back to apparently Deku telling All Might about the opportunity to work with Endeavor, and All Might's all for it, saying that you can learn a lot from him, and so is Bakugo, saying that Bakugo can learn from the way Endeavor is right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care what anybody says. Endeavor has changed. I mean, is it enough? I mean, shoot, who knows? But
Yeah. For example, he's got a jacket on.
not gonna let it bother me. Not gonna let it bother me. But like he first got the AOK from like All Might, and even Deck was asking about his training for One for All. But he said as long as you keep that as long as no other power manifests right now, and you keep that image of a lock in your mind going, you should be fine to use Black Whip. Which I don't know how many weeks have passed since he trained to use it. But I remember a rumor that Deck was supposed to be learning how to control two powers with Endeavor, so I don't know when that's coming. As they're walking, Endeavor runs off looking like a bigger jerk, but apparently they can keep up with them, and apparently I didn't notice until we get to the scene of the crime, but apparently he had either predicted an attack or knew an attack was happening. I'm still confused at how he knew that. Uh, you can make an argument that it was his agency, but he didn't have an earpiece in his ears. I don't know how he would have known that. That's really weird. He he seems to be on top of everything. Is what I'm getting at. Is like he seems to have really picked up being the number one hero in his own way.
Yeah.
because he's fighting. He's fighting a glass man who thinks Endeavor's the devil. I'm not gonna get into this topic because everybody has their opinion. Moving on.
It's cool though because like it's such a waste of a fight because like I kind of wanted to see that guy's ability. It
We
was
saw
like
it here. I
in
mean, he was drawing it in glass.
I know. It's just I would have liked to see that guy like in a more fair fight situation because it was a really cool power. And like I don't know, it's just like oh, you wasted a really cool idea for a power on like this little one-off moment, and like I want to see it. I want to see what this guy can do with any amount of glass. Like glass is
We've already,
versatile. A lot of uses
we've already
everywhere.
seen though. I mean, Endeavor has said that he's really good at his a power, but he doesn't understand him, which I don't understand him either. But I mean, he's a crazy old man. His eyes are literally like solid white for no reason either.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to see more of him. I thought he was really cool.
Well, just because he's a Joe doesn't mean he's not gonna come back.
Yeah.
You do realize that, right? I mean, we're gonna you thought you were gonna see Top Hat, where that guy was the shrinking ability again until like at some point. I'm pretty sure we'll see more of these characters. Just because they're in jail, don't wait you not see them again. They're dead. That's it. The only character that's actually died in this show is Night Eye. Sadly, rest in peace, Night Eye. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he wasn't really fairly matched with a guy who could melt his glass. But I mean, he's the only top hero in this city from the looks of it. So like, I mean, he decided and he attacked Endeavor because he wanted to anyway. He already called him the devil. Um, as his fight, we see Hawks in the. I guess he was apparently in a city reading a book on a skyscraper. He just happened to be in town. I don't buy that at all. But apparently the glass dude is running away. He thinks he's gonna get Endeavor, and Bakugo and Deku decide to get involved, only for Hawks to beat them by a millisecond. And also, I guess this is the first opportunity Deku gets to meet Hawks. Which I guess is even interesting because I think they bring up the fact that he's 22. That makes him 6 years older than he is. Which brings up like how young he became a full-time hero. So
Yeah.
like, is it interesting here? They promise Endeavor managed to arrest the glass dude, who I think his Star Servant is his name. He never says his name the entirety of the fight until like somebody says, we didn't mean to do this. We had to obey Star Servant. That has a long name. And then we see this guy dribbling off some propaganda that his light brings darkness. He seems very cultist like there might be a cult out there who hates Endeavor. I mean, it wouldn't be the first. He wouldn't be the first person to hate Endeavor. I mean, this must work, but we're not gonna get into that either. Deku pretty much meets, like, he says, "Nice to meet you," with Hawks. Hawks says he already knows about it because Tokyo only told him about he's the guy who broke his fingers. I thought that was an interesting detail they decided to bring up.
Hmm.
So at least that means we know how early on he heard about Deku.
It's a classic way for Hawks to be so irreverent. Like Hawks, like nothing. Hawks is like irreverent of nothing. Like it's so on brand for him to be like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy that mangled his fingers." You know what I mean? Deku is like one of the top 3, probably students from his class, which is the top class and the top university for heroes in the country.
It's not really a university; it's a high school. But I mean, that's tomato. But
Well, you know what I mean? Like
I know it's tomato. Top school. That's really all that really. That's all you need to know.
he's not bragging about it, but he's in the top class. He's at the top of the top class and the top school in the nation for heroes. Like that's bragging rights that no one ever talks about. And Hawks, I understand that he's the number 2 hero, but like this is like the up and coming. Like this is the next generation of heroes. Deku could very well be like the next Hawks, or give or take a position in the top heroes in the future. You know what I mean? And Hawks is like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy that mangled his fingers," and like that's all he knows. And Deku's like, "Oh, yeah, okay," you know what I mean? Like because that happened like not 6 seasons ago, but it happened a lot of seasons ago that he stopped mangling his fingers. And I don't know. It's just an interesting way to write him off. You're the kid that destroyed his fingers. Like I don't think there's a more effective way to write Deku off than that.
when he's writing off Tokiyami saying that Tokiyami is over helping with psychics at their hometown. I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. That Tokiyami, even though Tokiyami didn't have a high opinion of you at the very beginning of it, but I want to just talk about this book that Hawks brings up to Endeavor. In the words meta liberation, I want to point out, or at least ask you, have you noticed throughout the course of the series, when they go to the TV, when the TV has been like a behind the scenes thing, have you actually been like trying to read what the reporters are talking about, or even read some of the subtitles of like what's been going on in the world of My Hero Academia?
No, I read so slowly that it's all I can do to just follow.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's nothing. I just like I happened to pick up on this because I always wondered because there are various scenes where they have them sitting in front of the TV and it's like, why are we seeing this all of a sudden? But last I think it was the 2 episodes ago. There's actually something going on TV in the news, and it's actually kind of important because it's kind of top news. But meta liberation actually kind of been has actually been kind of brought up in the background for a while, and it's been happening in the background. It's kind of
Mhm.
like I would say this is kind of like an interesting way to build up further on background noise that you probably haven't been paying attention to. Um, They didn't talk about like things been there's like been serious problems going on with metahumans, whatever, quirk people who've been like causing trouble, and there's some company who I think is owned by Despero, who's the guy that's brought up in this book. They've been like fighting behind the scenes with Despero, but I thought it was kind of cool that Hawks has a book written meta liberation. It's like that's a little bit on the nose. Well, we now know what's coming next.
It's weird. Despero.
I think his name is Despero. I forgot. Is it a Despo or something? It starts with a D. But
It'd be relevant if it was Despero because that's a DC character that starts a cult.
well, I think we'll see. I think we'll see his name in the book once we're reading it. But I guess before we get to that, Hawks is trying to give Endeavor some hints here without actually saying it out loud. And he changes his demeanor while giving him these hints because he feels like Endeavor would notice something's not right. And I mean, it takes Endeavor a little bit, but yeah, he definitely does catch on. I mean, later in the episode, but we definitely do that. Endeavor does catch on. It's like that, he's trying to tell him something and he's trying to do it on the sly. Deku, being Deku, almost ruins the plan, but Hawks apparently had 3 more books on him, almost like he was intending to give it to some 3 students.
Destro. Destro. Destro.
Okay, well, I was kind of waiting to get, but yeah, Destro, like apparently he's like the guy behind the liberation. We don't know what he looks like other than that little silhouette that they showed us of him. But yeah, there is some cult going on in the background that wants liberating metas because Hawks bringing up in the book that apparently they're looking to liberate all people with powers, which kind of goes into the whole thing about like how I forgot how many seasons ago, but it was definitely the reason why they went after their licenses. You find out from a cop pooch that it's illegal to use your powers without a license, which that was a whole thing and a whole stupid thing. But I mean, I guess it was purposely put into the plot so we know something's gonna come up later. Because a lot of people didn't agree with the fact that why are powers illegal? It's kind of a part of your person. Why would you make
Yeah.
using your abilities illegal? But it looks like here it's gonna come up at some point based on this Destro dude, who has been in the news too. If you actually been looking at some of the news when there is a TV on the screen, he has come up with the news. So I just like how sly it's been put in the background. I'm pretty sure that was not how it was handled in the manga, but I love that if it was some like if it was some anime or privileges that they were doing that to, it was kind of funny that they were doing it in the background, hoping that they get to this point. But Hawks flies off, giving hopefully Endeavor caught the clue. We go over to Endeavor's agency, and the first thing we see is 4 people from his agency who I don't recognize at all, and we see one of his sidekicks. Her name is Burnin. I had to look her up just to see what an official artwork of her looked like. Um,
He's got 30 sidekicks.
yeah, I saw that too, but I was hoping not to bring that up. But yeah, she is one of 30 sidekicks that Endeavor has. Um, I guess I shouldn't be shocked that he had a fire sidekick, but at the same time I was kind of like a little bit shocked. He had like a sidekick that was a fire sidekick, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's kind of a little bit on the nose, but I mean, it makes sense.
I
Burning
mean,
kind of
fire is such a boring and normal superpower. Of course, he's going to have one.
gonna ignore that. She pretty much has her little like I guess not bargain, but like conversation with Bakugo saying that he's gonna have to work his hardest to outshine them. Um, Apparently Bakugo and Todoroki had not done one work study, which I thought that was weird, but I guess they couldn't because they didn't have their licenses.
Yeah.
So they bring that up as an important part of the plot. Uh, Apparently Endeavour Agency has so many requests for hero work that 100 comes in a day, which is like, well, that's a lot of work. I guess it explains why Endeavour needs an agency to work. But I think this is something that was brought up even before it became number one. I guess it just kind of got crazier as it became number one. But
Mhm.
go on from that little like we go in the background with Endeavour in his chair in his office. He's thinking about everything that pretty much Hawk said to him, and he brought the fact that anytime he's ever talked to him, it seemed like to him that he was joking, which made him take whatever was going on seriously. And he pieces together the code words from the highlighted pages that the liberation is coming in 4 months. That was kind of interesting. I'm actually kind of curious if we're gonna end the season on the liberation happening. Because 4 months is a long time, and 4 months would put us. It's June right now, so July, August, September, October. October is when season 2 of Demon Slayer is coming out. Can't wait to watch that. November, if we're talking about real in life months. So I don't know, considering how late when My Hero even started. They could pull the whole we're going to be leading up to Liberation, like this being the last season for this last arc for the season, and they were going to season 6 with the Liberation. I'm guessing, because accidentally found out apparently there's another Liberation arc following the Liberation arc. So like I don't know if they would attempt to do that here.
Like they're coming in waves.
Yeah, like something is happening. Like things are gonna get crazy from here on out. But I don't know because he said 4 months, and usually when My Hero gives us a timetable, they actually mean literally. So I don't know. And based on since it's like the beginning of the year for them, like this would be happening in April, so they could attempt to end everything in October this year or November, and they come back April next year. They could do that, but it kind of makes you wonder how long is the Endeavor arc, because I heard that this arc is actually out of order. Uh, so I don't know how long the arc is. If they believe that they're correcting order of events, making things easier to understand, but I don't know. Like, I don't know how out of order it is, and we probably won't know until it gets to the arc that we're supposed to be on. Um, they find out the liberation is coming, and I think they give a number of how many people it's going to be.
I haven't noticed that yet. I'm watching the scene right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I thought they gave a number, but I could be wrong.
I'm watching it.
Nope, they don't give a number. So whoever's mass group of people, it's enough to cause Endeavor to be nervous.
They number over 100,000.
What was that?
It's around 2130-ish.
Liberation Army, the number. Okay, over 100,000. That's a large group of people, considering that 85% of the world has powers. Ugh. It's actually kind of scary when you think about it, like that much uncontained power. Which actually, I just thought about this with that concept in mind. One for All has been waiting for something to happen so he can get out. This might be what he's been waiting for. Which
One for
makes
All is pretty confident that. I mean, All for One is pretty confident that it's getting out.
but he doesn't seem the type of guy that would stage a coup just to get out because they got him in there and they could probably easily restrain him. Yeah, he could probably break free from restraints, but it feels like to me he's waiting for some moment to break out. Like he's waiting for something to happen where nobody's looking at him.
I mean, at the end of
That's
the
the feeling
day,
I got from him.
he has his power, and All Might does not. And Deku's not up for fighting him yet. So he kind of won that little exchange with All Might, despite if he got captured and really can get out, then he kind of won that exchange. It was a tough lot. It was a tough win in a narrow margin, but if he ends this by getting out, and All Might has been forced into retirement from that fight, then he kind of won it.
I guess I also want to bring this up too. I've been
Especially because everybody saw All Might end that fight and come out victorious, but also definitively demonstrate that he wasn't going to be strong enough anymore, which has started things like the Liberation Army and stuff like that. And far-seeing All for One knows that things like this are happening now, that like degenerated justice in the world and the crime rates are going up. No, they don't have their invincible protector anymore.
Yeah, but I still feel like he's waiting for something to happen so he can because I feel like to me, if he had his powers and he was able to get out, he would have done it a long time ago. I feel like he's waiting for something. I feel like he's literally waiting for something.
I think he's put himself in there so that his little protege, the guy with the hands, can come into his own. And he's like, because he says it straight out. He's like, All Might, you're like staying there and guiding and coddling your little your next of kin kind of, but like he's stepping aside and letting the guy like fly on his own right now, become a villain in his own right. So it's just two different ways of growing like their respective students.
Yeah, but I think Shigaraki's done enough growing as it is. I feel like that's why I feel like he's waiting for something. And I'm not saying he couldn't get out of it. I just feel like he seems like the type of guy that he's been waiting for centuries, fighting the users of One for All. He's fought every single one of them.
Yeah,
The only one he's fought that he's had a problem with is All Might. So to me, I think he's waiting for something. Like I feel like he's got to be waiting for. If it isn't the Liberation Army thing, it's something else he's waiting for. And I'm
I
not
do
saying he
too.
has anything
But
to
I
do
think
with the
he's,
Liberation Army, but it might. I feel like it
I
has to
think
be.
he's confident that when he does get what he's waiting for, he's going to have the solution he needs. Like
Yeah,
I
but
feel like he's waiting smugly for it, not like with anxiety or anything like that. Like I think he's waiting with a feeling that win in the end, and he's just having to bide his time for a while.
yeah, I'm not saying he's anxiously waiting, but I feel like the Liberation arc, because if you go back to the backstory that we saw of the little brother and the older brother, we saw that one of All for One's like greatest strength was talking to people and getting them to uh, uh, prepare for an uprising. The Liberation Army thing, whatever this is the closest thing to what he tried to do a long time ago. And he's not a part of it. But I feel like considering that the police, the people who are watching him, will be so much more, they'd be so much more content, well, not content, but they'd be still having so much on their hands trying to stop an uprising out there, that it'd be the perfect time for him to to break free, or if he can't break free, be the perfect time for Shigaraki to break in and break him free. But there's been a rumor, and I've been wondering for the longest time because apparently there's been a lot of hyping up of something that people call My Villain Academia, apparently some line was thrown out that this is what they were referring to. So I think something's gonna happen here with Shigaraki and the gang because we haven't seen them in a while actually. The last people we saw from that group was Twice and Toga, and that was like during the Chisaki stuff. Like Shigaraki's been in the background somewhere, just like biding his time. If anything, this would be the perfect time for him to show back up and cause some serious damage.
You don't think there's any chance that this 100,000 strong or Nomu?
No, I don't think
Because
so.
that
Because
could explain what they've been doing.
no, because the way Destro, at least the way you talk about Destro, and he's been, there are people out there who don't like the way society is right now. With all I'm getting from everything that's been happening, and what I've been piecing together in the background. Uh, there's been a lot of people who don't like the way society is, and I feel like, if anything, this Destro dude is the perfect guy to bring up a mass amount of people. They don't have to be strong, but there's got to be enough of them that it could cause the police an issue. Like in real life, when a riot starts, police can get overwhelmed. Like, even though they're supposed to be the rule of law, they can easily get overwhelmed if there's a group of 1,000 people rushing, rushing into a one direction. We had an instance of that in January, but I could date this content, but wait, was it this year? Yeah, it was this year, but I highly doubt it'd be Nomu because I feel like they would not be so well, he would not be so coy to let Endeavor know that it would be Nomu, because I feel like he can get that through a message. He wouldn't have to like tell him outright, but I feel like he can get that through a message. Because I feel like the words no and mu would have to be in that book somewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's Nomu. Plus, they don't need 1,000 Nomu to do what they need to do. They just probably get 5.
Well, a Nomu is not like a measurement of power. Like the Nomus we've seen are like some of them are super flimsy and some of them are unbelievably powerful. We've had a Nomu go one
Yeah,
on
but
one.
they've been all experimental.
I know, but we've had a one-on-one go. We've had a Nomu go all on one-on-one with All Might, and then we've had a whole Nomu factory like taken out by a hero invasion at one point. Like the Nomus are very variable in what they can do and the quality of
All
them.
Might didn't really defeat that Nomu. You just knocked it out into like into a hole in a part.
All of this, I didn't say that. I said we had a Nomu go one-on-one with All Might. I never said he won. I just said that we had a Nomu go one-on-one. You know, was that caliber where All Might had to go one-on-one. And then we also had we had other Nomu that like were pretty much just cannon fodder. So I think that like there's 1,000 Nomu could mean like if 995 of them are trash Nomu, that doesn't really mean that much, you know. I think Bakugo could take on like 10 crappy Nomu alone if they were bad enough.
I don't know if they give them regeneration, which it seems like a lot of these Nomus seem to have.
Some of them had it for sure, but they were like the point of a Nomu is it's like someone that's been flooded with tons of powers that were taken from somebody else, and it has more powers than it can comprehend, and it kind of loses its mind, and then they kind of control this like mindless thing that's overloaded with powers. So those powers, like they don't say, all right, get me 1,000 regeneration power to steal and hand on. Like if they get a regeneration power, they can give it to one. If they don't, they can't. So not everybody's going to get a regeneration power. It's just not the way it works.
And you don't know that. I mean, like we've had like 2 Nomu that had regeneration.
Yeah, we've had 2 Nomu, but we've also had like 100 Nomu.
I mean, who's to say? Wait, 'cause I thought the ones that I thought the small fry that Endeavor fried, some of them had regeneration. I'm pretty sure those small fry were all black too. And they make a point to say the black Nomu are supposed to be the ones with regeneration.
Okay. I don't think they all have regeneration. I feel very comfortable saying they don't universally have regeneration powers.
Well, I know the black ones do. I mean, they make a point to say that the black ones do.
Okay. I mean, if the black ones do, that's fine. I think that they all have some sort of defensive something, like something that makes them durable or, hard to kill one way or the other, but I don't think it's all specifically, and there might be with the black ones, but I don't think every single Nomu has regeneration.
And right now, I mean, I don't think it could be any no moves because I mean, unless they have more hidden somewhere that were failed experiments like that. I forgot the
Oh yeah,
name of
they
that
do.
one.
They said they referenced that that was just one of their factories in that arc. I don't remember it well enough now to tell you exactly how it went down, but they referenced that it was a setback, but it wasn't their only factory.
Well, I like thought they would waste their no moves on a liberation because all that would do is just cause more chaos. I don't know. I don't think they want that much chaos when they want to get if the Shigaraki is trying to get his boss or father figure back.
Yeah.
He isn't gonna like
I
risk all this damage and chaos if he's changed and grown.
When Shigaraki does make a move, there will be no moves. you know, I don't know. So if this isn't Shigaraki, there won't be no moves. But when he does make a move, I think there's going to be no moves.
But I mean, Endeavor can burn them all to similar. Because I don't, I keep on saying this, and I've been waiting for it to happen. They need to make one if they really want one of these things to kill Endeavor, they need to make them the fire retardant. There's no other way around it. Because he's gonna blast them. Or like even if they do manage to get do some serious damage to Endeavor like that high end dude did, like they still gotta deal with Todoroki, his son. You know, they still gotta deal with him. Like I mean,
Yeah.
and he's got high caliber capacity for fire. He just know how to bring it out. So like I mean, they've got to make these guys fire retardant. But I just feel like because all they've been doing is fighting All Might, Endeavor's only recently become a problem recently. So if they did have like no moves in the factory, because all for one's been in jail, so they can't be giving them unless there's another way to give people powers. I don't think like there's a they if they have factories, they've already got these no moves set with powers already. There's no way to give them any more. Just makes me like I feel like they've got this is a problem with Endeavor. But maybe that's kind of why Wadawi got upset. He's like, like why'd you bring number one into this? You shouldn't have done that. But so they just kind of weird. Like I feel like they're not gonna have an because if Endeavor's there, they're gonna there'll be a limit to how many he can light on fire and burn. But I'm pretty sure that the limit won't be nowhere near as much as they need it to be able to do any real damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know. It's like I feel like they need to make these things fire resistant because there's no way around it unless that high end Nomu that he fought. Maybe all the other ones got brains too. They got artists before.
Or
Like
they
no,
just
a Nomu with a brain is dangerous.
or they just target Endeavor, and take him out before they start their battle. Like Endeavor becomes a kingpin point. I mean, think about before you get into this, we can agree that All Might is in his prime is hands down better than Endeavor, right? Like that's the thing, right? Whoever has the one for all like quirk is going to be probably the number one hero in their prime of that time.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but at the same time, those Nomus you can't destroy them with like,
Give me,
and
give me
he's
a minute.
already
Give me
tried.
a minute. I know, but that's not where I'm going with it. I just wanted to agree on that, so it wasn't a distraction for my next point. There's a big jump down from All Might to Endeavor, like in power. Endeavor is more useful against Nomus, sure, but there's a big drop down from All Might to Endeavor, and also in the public eye. Like Endeavor is very, very, very respected in the public eye, but All Might was like the one that everybody saw and started cheering, and Endeavor everyone sees and they're glad that he's there. The next one down is Hawks. And in my opinion, Hawks is a huge drop down from Endeavor. And like as well. Like I think it's a major, major step down from Endeavor to go from All Might to Endeavor and Endeavor to like Hawks is a huge drop down. If they were to take out Endeavor, like enemies wouldn't even be that worried about hero. Like the heroes would lose their effective like spokesperson. There's nobody that compares to Endeavor after All Might is down. So it would just be a huge, huge like shot in the gut for them. Like they wouldn't. I don't think the heroes have someone that can replace him as like their main person after that. Best Genius is injured, like, and he's not really going to be like able to replace Endeavor or All Might. Hawks is not enough to replace Endeavor or All Might, in my opinion. He's cool and everything, but he's not like the role model, like the symbol of peace that they need. I mean, who would do it? You know?
I like to point out why you're doing this. That bug zapper has been going off. Like
That what?
every other that bug zapper has been going off. Every other syllable, there's been a bug flying in it.
Yeah, it's a good bug zapper.
Not that it's a problem. I just want to point out that anybody's like wondering what that noise was. When he was talking, that was a bug zapper. Every other consonant, apparently, a bug decided to go straight into the light. But continue.
That was what I had to say. I just think that like that's it. Like it's a huge drop down in power. Like if they like, there's a lot of good reasons other than just that Endeavor is specifically effective at killing Nomus. There's a lot of reasons to take out Endeavor before they move on the rest of the heroes.
I still feel like the main like I'm not like Endeavor's powerful. I'm not gonna lie about that. But it's like I feel like if you give him the right villain to fight him, I mean even Dobby Bright could overwhelm him. But if Dobby is his son, but we won't be getting to that until much later. But like because like Toga could probably well if she could get near him. But I don't Endeavor probably doesn't know what she can do. But he'd probably be wary of that psycho chick. Um, only twice would be a problem for him. Rock would be a problem because he's crazy, and like one touch of his hand could just decay your face. Um, that reptilian dude's in jail, so that's nothing really worry about him. They killed the magnet dude.
The pro heroes community right now is just very, very tenuous. They need someone that looks like it's the top hero, that looks like a top hero, and acts like a top hero, and they just don't have that place right now.
I really don't know if I agree with that because All Might's created a problem. They don't need another. They don't need someone else to take his spot only for them to retire in the future because they are going to retire. I mean, whether it's by force or old age, they're going to retire, and then you got a problem. Like that's why I say
right now,
as much as I admire All Might, he has created a problem in this hero society. They all depended on him. That was no mistake. All the heroes didn't need to do anything. They had All Might. And I think they even bring it up. They didn't have to do anything. That's why heroes like Mountain Lady showed up. They didn't have to worry about anything because All Might was there, and like, they didn't have to worry about it. All Might was the end all be all. Any villain that did anything would have to fear All Might. The moment All Might left, as you said, everything went downhill. Endeavor's right now the only person trying to keep whatever like cracked pillars that are still up. And once he's gone, like you said, that Hawks could probably keep a pillar up, but he'll only be good against speed types. He's not really good against like power types.
No one's going to be afraid of Hawks in the way that they would be afraid of Endeavor or All Might as a villain.
I think he could scare some people. I mean, not like
he's intimidating. He's not going to like. I mean, with All Might, they were just like, oh my god, like they've got the trump card. They've got the guy that's better than all of us. All Might can take on any one of our heroes, no problem, probably 2 or 3. And then the same with Endeavor. They're like, wow, Endeavor, like he's so powerful, like they've got a lock. No matter how powerful our guy is, they've got someone that's more powerful than him. With Hawks, they're like, oh yeah, he's good. You know what I mean? We got to be careful about that guy, but he's a bird. Like he's a really powerful bird man, and like I think we can ultimately take him down if we get a really good coordinated plan together.
I don't know with a speed like that, because Hawks commented that speed of that high end, he was faster than he was. The only way they could overpower him is they were to make a no move faster. Which I mean, not saying it's impossible, but I'm just saying that right now all the no moves that I've seen, none of them have been really quick. They've been really strong for sure.
Once you've taken down Superman and Wonder Woman, like the Flash is going to go down sooner or later. It's just the way it is.
But if you run at something fast enough, all the momentum built up from that will become a super punch.
Yeah.
Just saying, that's like one of the Flash's abilities might just be speed, But it's the speed and the application of it. Plus, the Flash is not a good example because the Flash has the thing called the Speed Force, which is a god energy. So like,
Right, it's pretty good. I just meant like in a different universe comparison, like you're going to be afraid of Superman, and you're going to have really strong respect for Wonder Woman, even though she's clearly not as strong as Superman in any of the comic book universes that they're both in. And the Flash is clearly not as strong as those two, and he also doesn't really have that scary personality that Wonder Woman's capable of having, and Superman definitely has when he's up against an enemy. You know, where they're just like, "Oh fuck, I'm screwed if I go up
well,
against Superman."
Flash
And
isn't meant to be a scary guy. He's meant to be really a funny dude. He's supposed to get people mad at him. I mean, honestly, I feel like I think even the Justice League, he destroyed the Lex Luthor Brainiac combo when he shouldn't have been able to.
yeah, he did. And every time the Flash does something like that, it sort of feels like a miracle because you don't expect him to be that good at what he does. Just like, oh, okay, you know.
I understand. Don't count Hawks out. I understand he's already
I'm not
commented the fact that
saying
he's
that. I'm
not good
saying
at
that, like,
power types, but I just saying. I mean, I will agree that he's not gonna. I feel like he'll be able to keep up a pillar. Probably barely, but I feel like he'll be able to keep up a pillar. At least Endeavor is trying to keep up whatever All Might left behind. I mean, like it isn't 100% what he left behind, but I mean, he's trying his very best.
mhm.
I feel like Hawks could probably keep up a pillar, even a half pillar, but it wouldn't be nowhere what Endeavor did. I'm just saying that I feel like to me is like if they're really trying to take down Endeavor, I mean, I still don't know if a group of people could take him down. Like, I mean, Endeavor does not know when to give up. And that's one positive thing about that man. He does not know when to give up. To his detriment, he will keep fighting until his legs been cut off, and probably then he probably won't give up. But I guess what I was basically I was saying, I guess I was saying before we end this off here. My biggest thing was like you said we need somebody else to take All Might's spot. I really don't think we need somebody taking All Might's spot. All Might just created a problem. As much as like no one wants to talk about it, in the very world of My Hero, we look at everybody objectively, and we look at All Might objectively. All Might has created a problem. He and it was all the problem isn't really his fault because he was just good natured and he wanted to do it, and nobody else other than Endeavor was trying to compete with him or get to his level. Uh, so like I mean, yeah, it's kind of the other heroes' fault that if they felt easy enough to be able just to hang about, do absolutely nothing, but he created a problem and it's kind of fractured everything. We don't need another person being the center, keeping everything up, because like they're all human. It takes something to kill you. You're not immortal unless you have that ability to make yourself immortal. But I mean, the only person that we have seen that is like One for All, but All for One. But like we don't need another. As much as cool as it would be for Deckard to take that spot, I really don't think we need another one because it's just. I feel like he's created a problem, and then we need to address it. We need to fix whatever problem he created, and if then you want to put somebody on that spot again, sure, by all means. But we need to fix the problem underneath. Like the pillars weren't as strong as like All Might thought they were. Because if it was, people wouldn't be panicking that All Might's gone. They see the other heroes are around. There's a reason why the hero is a profession. The other heroes need to be pulling their weight, but they weren't because All Might was there. Again, that's probably their fault, not really 100% All Might's fault, but he still contributed to the problem.
Yeah.
That's really the issue I had with the character. I mean, and it was only issue that came up after he left.
What else is he supposed to do?
I don't know. I just and it was only a problem I only realized that was there after he had retired and his power disappeared. 'Cause I didn't think he was gonna like disappear and not be a hero anymore. But like with the moment that it happens, it's kind of like the whole idea of Superman. Superman's the pillar that's keeping everybody safe in the DC universe. Like people, when there's somebody nobody can defeat, they call that man in to defeat them, and he never seems to die. He gets hurt a lot, but like he doesn't. You're never gonna imagine a world without him. Because I mean, even the worlds that don't have Clark Kent, there's another Superman involved in there that's as powerful as he is. Like I don't know what else All Might could have done or should have done. like I said before, isn't that really all his fault? I mean, it was all in good nature. All Might's a good natured individual. He did all that because he wanted to. He wanted to be the pillar, but I feel like he didn't think through the implications that he was having. You know, he was all it was all he was all being it was all in his good nature that trying to do all that. But like, I guess he didn't. I feel like he didn't think it all through. That he like, what happens if I leave or retire? What happens then? If everybody depends on me, what's the point of the other heroes being around? You know, what's the point of having this profession if all you need is this one dude?
Right.
And essentially, all you needed was All Might. That's all you needed. Like when he was around, like that was ridiculous. So like, I don't know. I feel like it's like a 50-50 thing. Like the heroes that were underneath him should have been doing their best to keep up and at least do what Endeavor's been doing, trying to keep up with him. I think it's the only real reason why Endeavor is like the second best thing next to All Might, because Endeavor was the only one trying to, you know, be better than him and save more people than he was. That's why if anything, Endeavor had earned the number two. Everybody else below him from there didn't even deserve to be in the spot they were in. Because from what I can tell, like when they introduced Mount Lady, she was just in it for show business. She just wanted the money from the fame and stuff like that. She wasn't trying to be a hero. That changed as soon as All Might had left. A lot of these heroes had their own ideas for what they wanted to do, but they didn't have to really worry about the saving people aspect. Even that's what they were
Yeah,
trying to do.
That was the whole premise of the Stain arc.
Like nobody had anything to worry about. So I'm just saying that like and Stain caused a problem even when All Might was around, but I feel like that's why I truly believe that we don't need another person taking that spot. We need to fix the problem that All Might had created, not on purpose, just the problem that he had created. And I feel like to me it'd probably be a lot better if All Might has acknowledged that he created that problem, but it doesn't even seem like even his retirement that he realizes that there's a problem been created from him being the number one for so long and then him stepping down.
But instead, he's like perpetuating it by passing Deku. But again, what would he do otherwise? Like he has to. Deku's going to be the most powerful hero if he can get this thing down, right?
Yeah, but as I was saying, I mean, and the problem might not even become a problem really at the end of the day when the manga ends. But I'm just sitting there saying that when I'm thinking about the future of the world itself, um, and I don't know what else he could have done. Maybe he could have trained the other heroes. I have no idea. But when he was so focused on trying to prevent evil, that I mean, what's the point? That's what I was saying. I don't really know. I feel like a lot of the problems kind of stem from All Might. Like, and I'm not saying that like he did this maliciously, as I keep on saying. It was probably all by accident. It was a byproduct of what he's been doing. But I mean, at the same time, it's like I guess like there's nothing else he could have done. Maybe it really is up to the other heroes that maybe they shouldn't have been slacking off what they were doing when he was doing everything. But what can you do when a man can be in Tokyo and jump to Japan and attempt to jump to America in just a single two leaps? Like, what can you do? You can't beat that speed. I mean, Endeavor was still trying to. Like I forgot his records when Oma was around, but like,
that was a depowered All Might too.
huh?
That was a depowered All Might too.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, I mean,
No,
Endeavor was
because
trying his
like, even
best
like when he
to,
landed, like the guy was like, "Oh, I thought you'd be here faster."
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Endeavor's the only one who was trying to like. I mean, and Hawks says this in any of the flashbacks we have with him that he looks up to All Might. I mean, not All Might, but Endeavor. We even see it in the ending credits where he has an Endeavor doll. So I thought that was kind of cute, but
Yeah.
it's like he says that Endeavor was the only one seriously trying to like get up to his level. I mean, we see in the flashback that there's a hole between him and All Might. It's like All Might isn't even like next to the hole. All Might is so far ahead of the crevice. He's just trying to put a piece of plywood and some stone down so he can step on it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, yeah, I mean, what could All Might done? I mean, maybe he could have like really helped out the other heroes, telling them this or that, telling him his trade secrets, but if all he was trying to do was be the pillar, which is what he was doing, then I mean, at the end of the day, he was doing all he needed to do. But it's like, and maybe Deku will be different. Maybe Deku will see that there's a problem that All Might created, and maybe he's gonna try to fix it as he's trying to get up there. But and All Might's actions weren't all bad. I mean, he's inspired kids to want to be just like him. So I mean, what he did wasn't all bad. He definitely inspired people. Um, I wish he inspired the heroes that were supposed to be underneath him as his colleagues more than the kids that he was inspiring. But I mean, hey, what hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to look back at 2020. Why did you bring 2020 into this?
and with that, we're going to end the podcast here. See you guys next time. See